Well, it's Sunday night, and welcome to the Metal Bastards Hangout YouTube channel. That's right. And, well, we decided to give you guys another deep dive.
Mm-hmm.
Since Halloween's around the corner, you know what? I figured we'd dive into Kiss. That's right.
Yep.
We're going to do a deep dive on Kiss here. Part
Mm-hmm.
one of two parts. Kiss has a total of 20. If you count the solo albums, they have a total of 24 albums.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, we're gonna do from the first Kiss album all the way to Creatures of the Night here tonight, and that's pretty much what we're gonna do. Anyways, so by the way, we got a birthday to celebrate in a way today.
Yep. And also, yep.
Yes, a fellow Metal Bastard member has a birthday today. We're talking
Happy
about Ice
birthday. Happy birthday, John. And prayers for your prayers for you when you see your heart doctor, man. Hopefully you don't have to go to the hospital or anything, man. Prayers to you, man.
Yep, much prayers indeed, man. Hope you get better. Hopefully that works out for you. Anything else to report before we get into this deep dive?
There is some metal news. Let me look it up real quick. But there is some metal news. There has been talks. It's just rumored talks floating around. I've seen a few websites. I've seen some stuff, but Shadows Fall might be getting together again in springtime of 2023 for a possible another tour, maybe.
Interesting.
With the lineup with Jason Bittner on drums, and apparently they said never rule anything out now because apparently everyone's kind of on good terms now.
Ooh, that's
so good. Sometime this decade we could maybe see a new Shadows Fall album. It's been 10 years.
Be nice. I mean, it's been how long? I mean, since the last Shadows Fall album came out, 10 years, I believe.
Yeah.
It's been a long time.
I'm just seeing what else is in metal news because there's a new Ozzy Osbourne commercial. I didn't care much for it.
I can imagine.
Kiss played Kiss played a concert and only 100 fans showed up. I'm not lying. That actually happened.
100 fans.
Kiss played a secret show for less than 100 people.
This is definitely Sharon.
Yeah.
Come on, man. Sharon's trying to get every fucking dime he can or she can out of Ozzy
before he passes away. Man. Yeah.
I mean, absolutely sick.
Yeah.
But I can't really think of anything metal news.
I mean, it's not metal news, but it's kind of drama news in metal. A certain drummer from a certain band from a certain Motley Crue is in the news again.
Here we
go. Tommy Lee apparently is in trouble. Well, not in trouble, but there's rumors floating around of him playing him after a show, being drunk and talking to a minor suggestively in front of the minor's parents.
Oh, jeez.
What an idiot.
They just need to stop. I did hear rumors about John Five becoming a guitar player of Motley Crue. It's like, I like John Five, but no. Just stop already. Motley Crue fucking sucks now.
Oh, that's something new. Alice Cooper enlists Rob Zombie and Sammy Hagar for their 20th anniversary jam.
Why Sammy Hagar?
But
Zombie, that's okay. I mean, Rob and Alice Cooper have a pretty cool bond.
Oh yeah, there's a new Iron Maiden tour. Finally, there's going to be an album tour now for 2023 and 2024 for a world tour. So,
boy, Motley Crue would have to literally fire the whole band because get rid of Tommy Lee too. I can't stand Tommy Lee.
No,
like
the only person I could stand, and I want to barf saying it, is the lead singer. Ugh. But out of everybody in the band, the only person that's really not making an ass of himself is the singer. Can't believe I'm saying that, but
well, he's still an embarrassment though because he can't.
He's an embarrassment. No, he can't sing for shit, and he keeps falling down on stage.
But anyways,
Megadeth man. I mean, video.
Besides that, there hasn't been much going on at all.
No,
that I can really think. I mean, I did hear Testament started working on the new album.
Yeah, that's true.
Overkill, I guess, is still working on theirs. I haven't really heard too much for 2023 yet.
Yeah. Well, I heard this holiday, Geezer Butler teased something on Instagram about a Mob Rules box set.
Ooh, sweet.
With a box set with vinyls and then a 2-disc CD with demos.
But yeah, that sounds cool. I'd like to get those Sabbath box sets eventually. The ones they have put out so far. A lot of cool stuff in them. I want to get that Kiss Destroyer box set too.
I gotta get the Creatures of the Night one also, and the Destroyer one. Yeah,
I want to get that too.
Oh yeah. I think I shared this one too on Facebook. The Ian Hill and KK Downing rejoining Priest for the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
How could I forget that? Yes, that's very true. I did see that. So yes, Priest did get KK Downing to come and play at the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Does that mean a possible reunion?
Yeah. Now, I'm not going to rule out if he'll play a show with them, but hey, I would just say take it. If all works well there, then maybe he'll rejoin. I doubt it, but.
I mean, I guess we'll have to see what happens. It would be cool, I think.
And then Dave Ellefson is in the news.
Oh.
Ellefson is in the news negatively. Apparently, Ellefson is already bashing the new Megadeth album, telling fans not to buy it and telling people not to see the show, and saying that he hates Dave for several reasons.
Yeah, him and Dave have been bickering back and forth for the last couple months now. It's like whatever.
For once, I'll take Dave's side. I think Dave made the smart choice in just booting him. I think I would pick Dave's side on this one for booting out Ellefson.
Well,
heck it.
I did hear before he got fired that they were not getting along.
No. All right, so Pantera announced they're only doing 4 shows for the tour.
Just 4 shows?
Well, I mean, like 4 shows in the States, and then they're doing a final show in Brazil. Oh, well, I mean, I'm
hoping, man, that kind of sucks in a way.
Yeah. But it's going to have Judas Priest on the bill, 15th of December. This is going to be in Brazil, so. Priest is opening for Pantera. Oh, sorry, Ben.
No, like I was trying to say, unless it's just 4 shows for the remainder of 2022.
Yeah, I meant to say that it's only 4 shows for 2022, but then they're going to do a decent tour for 2023. Whether or not it's a world tour, nothing's been confirmed or denied.
Okay. Cool.
But apparently there's a rumored set list, and apparently Phil Anselmo and Rex Brown said they'll play pretty much anything off of any of the albums. They're not gonna. They're gonna basically play anything they would. Well, they're gonna make a set list, but they're gonna pick some songs off from each studio album, from what the rumors.
Interesting. Well, it should be pretty cool, I hope.
And then for the 4 shows in Brazil, the opener is going to be Judas Priest for Pantera, which I don't mind. I don't mind that. If Priest is the main event, yeah.
Well, that's kind of cool because if I'm right, when Pantera did their first North American tour when Cowboys from Hell came out, I believe Judas Priest, or they were opening up for Judas Priest at the time. So that's kind of cool, actually.
Yeah.
Yep.
But that's all that's in metal news. Surprisingly, Sebastian Bach isn't in the news, so that's a relief.
Oh, yeah, that is a relief. All the crying he does.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, other than Tommy Lee making an ass of himself.
He's really been making an ass of himself. I feel bad for people that bought tickets for that concert.
So something just popped up. So I'm wrong. Motley Crue is now doing a tour with Def Leppard in 2023. I just saw it pop up. Yep.
Def Leppard and Motley Crue again in 2023?
Motley Crue, Def Leppard is opening. Motley Crue is going to be opener, and then the main show is going to be Def Leppard for the winter of 2023.
Everybody I've talked to or anything I've read online, everybody says that Def Leppard was blowing them off the stage. I wouldn't be surprised. Like Def Leppard
I'm not
performing Motley Crue.
I mean, hell, I'm not paying tickets for that crap.
No. I mean, I wouldn't mind seeing Def Leppard, I guess.
No.
But I don't want to see Motley Crue.
No. No.
But anyways, yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
I can't really think of anything else in the news today, so.
No. Anybody pass away? Anybody pass away or anything like that noteworthy or?
I haven't heard anything.
No.
Nobody passed away that I know of. Just haven't really heard a lot. But then again, I haven't really been on social media a lot this week either. So, yeah, that's pretty much it. I guess we'll get right into the deep dive here. Part one of part one of two. Excuse me there. And yes, we're going to be doing a deep dive on Kiss, a band that everybody knows about. If you don't know who Kiss is, you're definitely living under a rock.
Oh, this is going to be a TV-14 version of Kiss. So.
Of course.
and if you don't like that, I got 2 words for you: shoveling time.
What? Gonna get the motherfucking shovel. Anyways.
Ozzy, get the fucking shovel! Ah, oh, shut up, you bitch!
Alright, anyways, without further ado, so if we're not reading the comments, we apologize. We're just trying to concentrate and focus on doing this.
Yep.
In fact, I am going to actually turn the comment thread off for the time being. Not that I'm ignoring you. I just want to have my concentration for doing this.
Yep.
So here we go. All right.
Starting off with
the story of Kiss. Kiss formed,
73?
Formed in 73, but came from the ashes of Wicked Lester, which had Gene and Paul in it.
Which isn't a bad demo. The Wicked Lester demo isn't that bad, actually.
Yeah, Wicked Lester, I mean, it's definitely quite different from what Kiss was. It definitely has more of a psychedelic type of sound to it.
Yep.
It's definitely different. And they actually did record an album on a major label, but it got shelved. There's definitely bootleg copies of that album out there. And that's pretty much the story of Wicked Lester. They were a 5-piece. Obviously, Gene and Paul came from that band. And around 73 is when Kiss was formed. And I believe, they started out as a 3-piece. It was just Gene, Paul, and Peter at first.
Mm-hmm.
And Peter came from the band. Oh, what band did he come from here? I forget.
Was it the New York Doll? Was it the New York Dolls?
No. I'm going to have to look it up here because I'm not really from. The name's in the back of my head, but hopefully this is the only bit of information I got to fucking research here tonight.
Oh yeah, the 1973, the Pete Shepley and Mike Band.
Peter Criss. Okay.
Lips. Yeah.
I think you're right about that.
Yeah. I'm just using Wikipedia as my source. I know it's a terrible source, but hey. Oh yeah, so Peter Criss was involved in several bands through mid to late 60s. It was in a band called Chelsea with
it's Chelsea.
Decca Records. And then in 73 he joined a band called Lips.
Lips, yep. Not to be confused with Anvil, who was also originally called Lips.
And in 73, Peter Criss quit and did a couple odd jobs and then joined a very early version of Kiss with Gene Simmons and Paul Stanley. And one of the original sessions for the band was called Captain Sanity, which was dropped immediately by Gene Simmons. So that would have been one of the earliest names for Kiss would have been Captain Sanity in 1973 when it was just Peter and Gene and Paul as a trio project.
Right. So then they would get Ace. And Ace, he was quite an odd guy. And, he walked in with like 2 different sneakers and.
They said he walked in with like ripped jeans. I think I think they said like a red or pink shirt and orange sneakers.
And I guess he just started. How'd the story go? I guess he just started playing.
Yeah, he just. From what the stories goes, they started playing. They did a couple covers. They did a Zeppelin cover, and they did I think a Jimi Hendrix cover, and Ace ended up breaking a couple strings on the Jimi Hendrix cover, and I guess Ace went a little wacky, and that's how he kind of joined. That's one of the stories I've heard or read.
Pretty much. And yeah, that's pretty much the birth of Kiss. In the beginning, the makeup was a little different. Paul Stanley did not have the Star Child look in the beginning. He had some kind of other look in the beginning.
Peter Criss had his painted all white with like pink stuff on it before the Catman look. So
I believe in the beginning he wore a dress, if I'm right.
Peter Criss was the only one in the band to wear a dress.
Yeah, and Ace did have his spaceman look, but it wasn't quite developed in the beginning.
No.
You know?
And I also heard a lot of clubs, bars, ballrooms would not let them play.
That's true. Yep,
because the rumor was going around, hey, wait, these guys are wearing face paint. They're playing. They're not gay, are they? That's a true story from, I think, an interview back in 1992 from Peter Criss was telling a story of, well, one of the gigs they were going to play, they were going to get paid around $50 or $60 to play for 2 nights at a high school. Then the school turned them down, told them, you guys look like homosexuals because you're wearing your face paint, so you can't play here.
Yeah, I mean, they definitely got some backlash in the beginning. I mean,
yeah,
and they used to use empty Marshall cabs actually to make
yeah,
to make it like they had Marshall stacks, you know.
which I think is kind of cool.
Yeah, right. And there was a way they shot it where, you know, there was a certain way they would shoot it so the light would not hit the stacks, the empty stacks. But yeah, that's pretty much what they did in the beginning. In the beginning, I mean, they were opening up for bands like Blue Oyster Cult, Uriah Heep, and well, they were starting to pretty much piss off the headlining bands because they were blowing them off the stages with, you know, the pyrotechnics and all the stuff
they funny.
were on.
It's funny, in late 70s, late 73, before their debut album, there was a rumor going around that either for that album they were going to open up for Black Sabbath, but Sabbath turned them down after an altercation between Ace and Ozzy.
Right. And I'm just trying to think what else here before we get into the studio albums.
A lot of drama in Kiss.
Yeah, I mean, they were definitely broke in the beginning.
Mm-hmm. Drugs, and alcohol played a big factor into two band members, Ace and Peter.
That's true. I mean,
and at first, I've always thought for the first few set of albums, I've always thought that Peter was the crazy animal on drums. Peter was that party guy. But I've always thought Peter kind of was more reckless than Ace in the early days of Kiss. I've always thought. And it just had and with those early Kiss stuff, they just had a unique sound. But before the band went commercial, I'm gonna say even before Destroyer, those first few albums, you could definitely say Kiss. Not gonna knock them down, but Kiss is one of the early fathers of hard rock and roll.
Of course. I mean, what was I gonna say here? But they, earlier on, I mean, they basically took what the Beatles and the Rolling Stones were doing and made it heavier.
Yeah,
that's what they did.
But they weren't the heaviest.
Oh, no, definitely. These first couple albums definitely had some heaviness to them.
Because
for that time.
Because as we get into this part one, a certain Australian band joined on tour with them and blew them out of the water.
Which we'll get into that later on here.
Yeah.
All right, so in 1973. All right, so in 1973, they recorded a demo produced by Eddie Kramer, I believe. Yeah, I think it was produced by Eddie Kramer. So that demo basically got him signed to Casablanca Records. So, in 1974, bear with me here, people.
Oh, yeah, bear with them.
That's set up already. Okay. All right, so on February 18th, 1974, they would release their self-titled debut album titled Kiss.
Kiss.
I should mention, too, before we get into it, I forgot to mention, Ace Frehley actually designed the Kiss logo. All right, That's all I had to really say.
And we're just going to say he designed the Kiss logo. We're not going to say where he got it from. Oh, it's obvious.
Right, totally. All right, so the first Kiss album produced by Kenny Kerner and Richie Wise. Yeah, it came out on Casablanca. Length is 35 minutes and 7 seconds. You know,
only had 3 singles.
Yeah,
Surprising.
It actually did. So Nothing to Lose was the very first single released.
Kissing Time.
Yeah, Kissing Time, which I believe was a cover song.
Yep. And then Strutter.
Kissing Time, the label actually made them do that song.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think they were actually ever a fan of doing that track, to be honest.
No. Apparently Peter Criss disliked that song, and Paul Stanley did this.
Right. So Nothing to Lose, February 18th, 1974, released as a single. Kissing Time, released May 10th, 1974 as a single. And Strutter, released August 10th, 1974 as a single. And, well, at the time, those tracks really didn't do much for the band.
Yeah. I mean, personally, there's songs on the album I think that should have been singles compared to one of the songs. My opinion.
Oh, my God. Yeah, definitely.
Mm-hmm.
Strutter, Great Beginning. I think it's a good song. Probably the best out of those singles. Written by Paul Stanley and Gene Simmons. Excellent stuff.
Yep.
Nothing to Lose, written by Gene Simmons. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So this one has Gene Simmons and Peter Criss doing the vocals.
Yep. Which Peter Criss can sing. Peter Criss can sing. He's a pretty good singer.
He's got a good voice.
He's got that raspy charisma on the voice behind the drums.
Oh, yep, totally.
And
Nothing to Lose. Okay, so then we get into Firehouse.
Firehouse, which I think should have been a single.
I would probably agree with you. So that one was written by Paul Stanley.
Yeah.
And that's right, around this period, too, is when they did their very first TV appearance on the Michael Douglas Show.
Yep. Which you can find it on YouTube. You can find it on YouTube easily.
It's definitely interesting to watch Gene Simmons acting all shocking as heck in that interview. It's pretty funny.
Yeah.
And Firehouse was one of the tracks they performed on that show.
Yep. Which, surprisingly, they took that.
Oh, good.
Well, I was gonna say they took that song off of the live set list, Firehouse. They don't play it live much anymore.
I'm not sure why. All right, Cold Gin is next. Written
Probably
by
my favorite.
Yeah.
It's my favorite track off the album. It's my favorite track.
It's definitely one of mine. I freaking love this track. This could have been a single, too. I mean,
I also want to talk about Gene's bass playing on this debut album. A lot of killer bass stuff from Gene. And and I hear many people talk about how Gene Simmons is not a good bass player, or he just plays a lot of hooks. He doesn't get fancy. Gene Simmons can get a little funky sometimes on the bass.
Oh, yeah. Definitely. Oh, yeah, Gene's a great bass player. I mean, especially on those early Kiss albums. He does a lot of great bass licks. But Cold Gin is, Cold Gin's great, man.
Yeah. Got a good beat, good drumming from Peter Criss. There's a solid pocket in it, and it's just good. And we get to the 5th track. Let me know.
Not a bad
it's a
track, but it's kind of
bad track. Yeah. Written by Simmons and Stanley. Written by Stanley. Lead vocals by Simmons and Stanley. It's the shortest track. One of the shorter tracks on the album. So.
Yeah, it's still not bad though. I'll listen to it if I want to listen to it.
Yeah.
Kissing Time, I could care less about this track.
Could care less about it. I think it's the weakest track. It is the weakest track on the album, I think.
Yeah, it's a cover, but that's all it is.
Then we get a killer track.
Oh, man. Yeah, we're not going to talk about Kissing Time much. It's basically a cover.
It's
nothing. Now, this track freaking kicks ass.
It rips. Deuce.
Hell yeah. A lot of bands covered this track, too. Overkill covered this track. There's a couple other bands that have covered this song, too, in the past. Just a ripping track, man. Sounded all freaking like Gene, man. Like the demon.
Sorry, I was getting a little bit of the Gene licks on that. Just catch it.
It's a great song. Heck yeah.
It's a great song. And shout out to Ralph Vieira for the third track on side 2.
Hell yeah, man.
Love theme from Kiss.
It's just an instrumental. I mean, it's nothing special to me.
Nothing special. I don't hate it, but I don't love it.
Right. Yeah, I'm kind of the same way. I mean, it's whatever. I mean, it's just a little instrumental.
Mm-hmm.
Which I think the original version of this was much longer. I could be wrong on that.
Unless the original version had lyrics and more structure to it, and maybe the label told them, hey, put an instrumental in here. This will sound cool.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. And the last 2 tracks, holy cow. What a great way to end this debut album.
100,000 Years.
Ooh, I love this track. I love the shuffle drum beat in this track. Peter Criss is doing some great drumming on this track.
Yeah, some good fills towards that middle section.
For those who say that Peter Criss couldn't drum, back in the 70s, he could drum.
Mm-hmm.
Excellent
and
song.
He did, and he didn't need drum triggers to do it. He was just pure Kiss back then. Just pure Peter Criss back then. Before the drugs, before the craziness.
Oh, man. Yeah, this track's got some nice Ace Frehley guitar solos in it, too. Some good riffs. Excellent
Paul Stanley doesn't sound bad. Paul Stanley's vocals don't sound bad on it.
Right. Oh, yeah, he sounded good on this track. Then the final track. Oh, man. Black Diamond. This is my favorite track on the album.
Mm-hmm.
It's pretty heavy. It's kind of doomy for Kiss. I mean, it's really good.
Both being sung by Peter and Paul. I think Peter does a better job at it, singing it.
I mean, that acoustic beginning's really cool, too. But, when it gets heavier and Peter starts singing, man, oh, man. It's just great stuff, dude. And Ace Frehley solo on this track, man, easily one of the best Ace solos out of like the whole Kiss discography.
Yeah,
I mean, as far as Ace Frehley goes.
And
love this track. Excellent debut album.
And the album actually got a went gold in the U.S.
Yeah, it did
over
go gold.
500,000 certified.
Yes, 500,000 units sold.
Mm-hmm.
But still, it wasn't enough for the label or record label, so they went back into studio quick and put out Hotter Than Hell, which came out on October 22nd. Yeah, October 22nd, 1974. Recorded in August of 74 at the Village, Los Angeles. Yeah.
And only had one single, which is kind of shocking.
Mm-hmm. Again, produced by Kenny Kerner and Richie Wise. Yeah, Let Me Go Rock and Roll is the only single. There's people out there that love this album, and there's people out there that hate this album because they don't like the production.
I think the production's fine. I don't hate the production. The album's solid. I don't get why some of those are the Kiss tards talking.
Pretty much. I mean, honestly, this might be my favorite Kiss album from the 70s. I just absolutely love this album. It's probably their heaviest album, too, from that period. Like,
this is one of my favorite... Sorry. I was reading the comments.
All right. What was I going to say here? Oh, okay.
Oh, you were... Yeah.
So So the album's 33 minutes and 2 seconds long. Yeah, this is a great album. Got to Choose begins the album. Pretty cool Paul Stanley, too. I gotta be honest, though, when I was younger, I had this on cassette tape.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought, when I first listened to it, I thought the cassette was warped. And I realized, no, this is actually how the album was supposed to sound. Because it's definitely Kiss's rawest album.
Yeah.
But I think it's cool. I think the raw production makes this album great. Makes it sound dark, which is what I like. But no, Got to Choose is a pretty cool opener. Parasite is a ripping tune. Oh, man.
Oh, I love Parasite. Peter Criss is doing some good shuffling on that song.
Good rips in this track.
Mm-hmm.
I love it, man. It's good and heavy. This track was also covered by Anthrax. It's weird. That's actually how I first heard this track when I was a kid. It was the Anthrax version before I heard the Kiss version. Going Blind. Oh, you talk about great bass playing by Gene.
Mm.
Man, his bass playing's great on this track.
Mm-hmm.
I like that little guitar lick that Ace is doing in this song too. That that's kind of a cool little part.
Yep.
Easily one of my favorites too on the album. Then we get the title track, Hotter Than Hell.
Hotter Than Hell, which is a good title track. Good
just
title
a rocking
track.
tune.
Technically, the very first Kiss title track.
That's true. That's very true. You're right. Such a great track, though. I mean, and the only single released from this album, "Let Me Go Rock and Roll," which is kind of a boogie type of track.
It's a boogie, definitely like a boogie type of track. Has that feel to it.
Yeah, it kind of has a 50s feel to it, but played much heavier, obviously, for that time period. Fun track. Pretty cool. All the Way, we got another Gene track here. Pretty good stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Watching You. Oh, this track freaking heavy, dark. Always loved it when Kiss wrote darker songs. And this definitely fits Gene Simmons, indeed. That demon character.
Mm-hmm. Hell yeah, man.
I believe Watching You might be a Wicked Lester leftover. I could be wrong on that, but I think it might be.
Gene Simmons said in one of the documentaries it was written down on a piece of paper. It was written down on a napkin he wrote on.
Yeah.
So, during the Wicked Lester days. So.
Excellent track, though. Then we get Mainline.
Which is another song featuring Peter Criss on vocals.
Pretty underrated track. I like it.
Yep.
I just like Peter Criss's voice. I always thought he had a cool voice.
Yep.
You know. But yeah, that was written by Paul Stanley, too. Coming Home. Probably one of the more deeper cuts on this album. Mm-hmm. Written by Ace Frehley and Paul Stanley. Sang by Paul Stanley.
Mm-hmm.
Not a bad track. I guess it's probably my least favorite on here.
I probably saying my favorite track on side 2 is the last track, Strange Ways.
Oh, what a freaking way to end this album. Heavy.
Peter Criss on vocals again.
Mm-hmm. This song is freaking excellent. I don't even know if they ever played this track live.
No, they didn't. They never played it live, but during the 2022 Creature Fest, Bruce Kulick, Ace Frehley, and Peter Criss got together and performed it live.
Ooh, that would be cool.
There's YouTube videos.
I'm going to have to look that up.
It's on YouTube. It's on YouTube, man. Peter Criss doesn't sound the greatest on drums on it, and his voice sounds weak, but he really tries.
Yeah.
So...
How old is he now? 77?
I think he said 83. I think he said 83.
I don't think he's that old. I'm pretty sure Peter Criss is 77.
Yeah.
Let's look it up quick. I'm pretty sure. Yeah, he was born in 45.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, he's 76. He will be 77.
7.
All right. I mean, he's not. I mean, he's a lot. He's a lot older now too.
Yeah. And they're getting the next album is my all-time. Next album is probably my favorite out of all the Kiss albums. Is up next in 75.
So, yep. And before we move on to that, Strange Ways was actually supposed to be a 10-minute long track originally, and they cut it way down because there was supposed to be like a really long Peter Criss drum solo in the track in the middle of it.
Yeah, Peter Criss did a drums. The Peter Criss said he wanted to do a Gene Krupa, Buddy Rich jazz drum solo in the middle of it, and Gene and Paul said no, sorry, and Ace was on their side and said no, sorry.
Apparently, Peter threatened to quit the band at the time, which he never did quit.
He threatened to quit the band. They were at a pizza joint, and Peter was telling them, "Am I going to get paid?" And then they said, "Yeah." Once the album's finished, he said, "Call a taxi. I'm out of here." Then he shows up 5 days later in the studio and says, "Where's all my drum gear?" They said, "Well, you quit the band." I said, "Fuck this. I'm out of here." Then he came back the next day and had his drum gear set back up.
Even the Kiss drama was relevant back then.
but at that
talking too, though.
Yeah, but at that time, it wasn't them bickering at each other. You know what I mean? It wasn't.
Right. But Strange Ways is a killer track. Probably their most Sabbath sounding track.
Strange Ways. Bow, bow, Strange Ways. Okay.
No. Yep. Just killer stuff.
Ben. We're off topic, but you sung that riff. Doesn't that remind you of a certain Sabbath song?
Down. Oh.
Similarities there.
Strange Ways blows that away. Oh, shoot. All right, so I guess we're moving on here. All right.
1975.
Back in the studio already for their third studio album. Oh, I forgot to mention Megadeth did a cover of Strange Ways too, but I didn't mention that. Anyways, okay, on to the next album, Dressed to Kill. Came out March 19th, 1979, produced by Neil Bogart. So yeah, the production's definitely quite a bit improved on this record, even though I like the rawness of the last record, Hotter Than Hell. And this is a very short album too, only a half hour long, 30 minutes and 7 seconds long. But
my favorite album. My favorite album of the 70s. My favorite album.
So going into this album, Kiss actually had no songs written for this album.
No.
I mean, so yeah, they were pretty much rushed into the studio to put this out. But it's a damn good album.
Only 2 singles.
Well, I got it on vinyl. Sorry, guys, I don't have a huge Kiss collection like I used to. I need to get all the Kiss albums again, or most of them again. But I do have Dressed to Kill on vinyl. Anyways, Room Service to begin the album. Excellent track.
Great track.
Yep. Really good stuff.
Room Service. Room Service. And track 2 is a really good deep cut. 2-time.
Oh yeah, good Gene song.
Gene song.
Absolutely like it.
Dressed to Kill was just chock full of good rock and deep cuts.
So then we get
Ladies in Waiting. Ladies in Waiting.
Yes. Pretty cool. It's not a bad deep track. I mean, it's a typical Gene Simmons song talking about wanting to fuck women.
Yeah. Has that typical little Gene Simmons kind of rock boogie thing going. I've noticed that sometimes Gene Simmons and Peter Criss and Ace will go kind of like how AC/DC did it, only AC/DC did it better. But I've noticed on a lot of the early stuff, Gene, Paul, and Ace weren't afraid to get into more of that rock boogie swing type of thing going.
Right, totally. Yep. So then we get Getaway, written by Ace Frehley and sung by Peter Criss.
Another one by Peter Criss. And Peter Criss still has not disappointed on vocals.
No, absolutely not. He does an excellent job here.
And just my theory. Imagine if Peter Criss was originally going to be the vocalist and the drummer at the same time. That would have been interesting.
I mean, he would have been a good front man. I mean,
yeah,
definitely had the voice. I mean, but yeah, Getaway, short little rocker,
Yeah.
Then we get the final track on the first half of the album, Rock
Bottom.
Not to be confused with UFO's Rock Bottom. Two completely different songs. Written by Frehley and Stanley, and, well, obviously sang by Stanley. What a great track. I love this track. Especially the intro. I like that acoustic intro. It's really cool. Oh, another one of my favorite tracks off this record to begin the next part of the album.
Come On and Love Me.
Come on and love me.
Love me. Peter Criss going around the drums, sort of like how Keith Moon did.
Yep. That's right. Yeah, man. Come On and Love Me is an excellent track. Really good stuff. Then we get side 2, track 2, Anything for My Baby.
It's an okay song.
It's all right. It is kind of catchy, though.
Yeah.
Definitely has a, 60s feel to it.
Kind of has a Beatles thing going to it. I think this is the album. Yeah. I think because if you look at Dressed to Kill, you see them all in suits.
Right.
I think this is the album where they pull a lot of the Beatles influences out of them.
Yep. That's true. I mean, yeah, very true. You can definitely hear a lot of Beatles on this album, for sure. And the next track, the heaviest track on the album, She, which is a leftover from Wicked Lester. Yep. Written by Gene Simmons and Stephen Cornell, who was from Wicked Lester, too. Both Gene Simmons and Paul Stanley share vocals on this track. Man, what a great track. Great riff. Heavy, kind of Sabbath-like, too. I freaking love She. You get a great guitar solo by Ace. Excellent drumming by Peter.
Yeah.
Love Her All I Can. Another pretty decent Paul Stanley track. Pretty good rocker. And the last track I really don't have to talk about.
No, Rock and Roll All Night. Although me, personally, I feel like Rock and Roll All Night should have either been on the debut or Hotter Than Hell.
Yeah.
Because it feels Rock and Roll All Night, I would say their biggest hit single so far. So far, we're going down the line at 75, and I feel like Rock and Roll All Night doesn't fit on Dressed to Kill. I think it would have fit better on Hotter Than Hell or the debut album.
Yeah, I mean, I could probably see that maybe. Now, I definitely prefer the live version of Rock and Roll over
Definitely.
the studio version.
The studio version.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Well, the studio version.
Studio version definitely sounds commercial.
Well,
starting to.
Well, to me, the studio version sounds like it's missing something, and that missing ingredient would be added on the Alive version. I'm talking about a guitar solo. There is no guitar solo on the studio version, and actually, the song was not a hit right away.
No, it wasn't.
It was the next album where it became a hit, the first ever live album by Kiss, Alive.
Yeah.
Which I'm not really going to go too into detail on Alive because
great album.
Oh my god, it's iconic. It's legendary.
Yeah.
But man, you get great live versions of Rock and Roll All Night, which to me it's kind of outplayed. She is definitely easily the best on there. It's extended. You get a Peter Criss drum solo on that. Really good stuff.
Peter Criss did good. Peter Criss did really killer drum solos. Not the drum solo. Not those heavy triple field drum solos you would hear from John Bonham or Bill Ward. Not those technical drum solos from Neil Peart. Peter Criss, it was just swinging jazz, kind of Keith Moon fills going around the kit and hitting those toms and just doing a lot of tribal stuff on the drums.
That's true. The drum solo. Early on, he did all that stuff. Yep, very true. Yeah, and Alive came out on September 10th, 1975. And this is the album that made Kiss superstars. Yeah. After three albums kind of flopped, this is the album that took Kiss to the top.
Now, save in an alternate universe, Ben. Kiss didn't make Alive until after Destroyer. Imagine that.
I don't know.
What if Kiss would have been as big? Or would have...
I don't know. That's kind of... I'm not sure how history would have turned out if it would have went that way. Interesting, though.
And then this is kind of... Yeah, then we're going to Kiss at their peak. This album. This is just peak Chris. Yep. Kiss at their... This is Kiss at... They're just firing on all cylinders. The best version of Kiss possible is this album here, I think.
Totally. So yeah, freaking Alive, this is the album that did it, man. This is the album that made Kiss the freaking biggest band in the world at the time.
Biggest band in the world?
Yep. I mean, you got Deuce, Strutter, Got to Choose, Hotter Than Hell, Firehouse. I'm just going to read these quick. Nothing to Lose, Come On and Love Me, Parasite, She, Watching You, 100,000 Years, Black Diamond. That's my favorite part of the album right there, those three tracks. And Rock Bottom, Cold Gin, Rock and Roll All Night, and Let Me Go Rock and Roll to End It. Iconic live album. And God damn it, I need to get it back in my collection. So then, right after the success of Alive, they went right back to the studio and started working on their most experimental album at the time, Destroyer.
Which released
on March 15th, 1976. Produced by Bob Ezrin, known for producing Alice Cooper prior to this. So yeah, 34 minutes and 28 seconds long.
Which I'm gonna mention. Sorry,
go ahead. No,
I was saying I'm gonna mention the demos from that were left off.
All right, go ahead.
Because there's an anniversary edition that came out this year of it. Like a 45th anniversary edition. But it doesn't show it here on Wikipedia, so I'm not going to bother. But I'll tell people If you want, there are Kiss demos out there from Destroyer on the 45th anniversary edition. So, yeah. Sorry, people, if I sound shitty or if I'm not as enthusiastic. I told Ben earlier in the stream why I sound kind of crappy today. So
yeah. He's getting over being sick.
Yeah. Oh no, Ben, don't get sick. Oh no.
Fights off the sickness.
Yeah.
Anyways. Oh yeah, Destroyer.
What's up, Frederick?
There was a bunch of demos released for this album.
A lot of them.
There's a different version of God of Thunder, which was actually written by Paul Stanley and originally sang by Paul Stanley. Thank goodness that changed, because Paul Stanley's version of God of Thunder is not that great.
I wonder what God of Thunder would have sounded like if Peter Criss sang it.
I don't know. I just feel like that track was meant for Gene.
Yeah, totally.
So this album had 5 singles released, and at first the album did not do good. That's right. Nope. People were pissed when this album came out at first because of the experimentation with orchestras and choirs, But eventually it caught on and became one of Kiss's biggest albums. Not too long afterwards. Shouted Out Loud. March 1st, 76. God of Thunder was released. March 15th, 76. Flaming Youth, April 30th, 1976 as a single. Detroit Rock City, July 28th, 76. And I'm pretty sure that's the track that probably changed. Well, no, it was the next one that was released. Beth.
Which interesting story about that song. Peter Criss originally wanted to call it Beck, as in short for Becky. And
definitely not. That would have flopped.
And originally Peter Criss was originally going to sing about an ex hooker he fucked back during the days of back during the early days with Kiss. If the story goes, he fucked a hooker named Becky that gave him cocaine and alcohol. So that was originally going to be the song titled, and Peter Criss was originally going to play drums on it and sing on the drums.
Yeah.
But the record label told Paul Stanley, told Paul and Gene, and they told Peter, "Hey, rewrite this song. Don't play the drums." I'm talking as Gene. Don't play the drums, Peter, and just use the piano and sing it. That'll sound cooler.
It's pretty much what happened. I mean, yeah, but the track was originally called Beck, and I think it was Gene or somebody said, "What are you singing about, Jeff Beck or something?"
Yeah, Beck.
Jokingly or whatever. Anyway, yeah, that's the 5 singles. I mean,
Do You Love Me?
Detroit Rock City. I mean, I don't really got to talk about these tunes, I don't think, because these are probably...
We could just fire. We could just fire right through them. Detroit Rock City, King of the Nighttime World's a good track.
Oh man, that's one of my favorites. I love that track. Great drumming
by
Peter. That track.
Peter Criss. God of Thunder, but just a fucking good dark track from Gene, especially live. Especially that track live is better. And Gene's just spitting out all that fake blood, and he's sticking his tongue out, and he's sticking his tongue on his guitar, bass guitar, and the demon. The demon. Yep.
Oh yeah, perfect too. Spitting out the blood, all kinds of cool shit. Yeah, God of Thunder is it's iconic, man.
Yeah.
Great expectations.
And for these newer Kiss fans, it says God of Thunder sucks. How about I give you this 16-inch boot up your butt crack?
You get the shovel.
You get the shovel. And the pitchforks. The mean metal pitchforks and torches. And the metal bend. And then the metal bend torches.
There you go. The Chase. Metal Ben Saul. Yin, 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 yin.
Yeah.
Anyways, back to
guys are gonna have Metal Ben dress up as Leatherface. Better watch out, people.
Oh man.
Great Expectations.
Yeah, this track's kind of whatever.
Whatever. Next, Flaming Youth. Oh, killer guitar soloing by Ace Frehley.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Pretty cool track.
Pretty cool track.
Kind of has there's a weird vibe in the track that kind of reminds me of the Doors.
Yep.
Yeah, there's a part, I don't know. Yeah, it's the part, I think there's like a little partner where there's like organs being played or something.
Mm-hmm.
It kind of gives it like a little bit of a Doors vibe. Sweet Pain. Now this track is great.
Sweet Pain. Great. No,
apparently
a deep cut for sure.
Well, yeah, and on the studio version, apparently Ace Frehley is not doing the guitar solo.
Nope. Dick Wagner is doing the guitar solo.
Yeah, Dick Wagner, but then they did reissue it, the album with Ace Frehley's guitar solo in it, which made no sense to me. What? Yeah, I don't quite understand that choice at the time.
I would have just left it as is.
Shout It Out Loud.
Yeah, it's a song. It's
probably a song. It is what it is. I mean, I'm probably pretty sick of it at this point.
Shout It Out Loud. I've heard it. It's played on the radio a lot. One of the songs was played on the radio a lot still. Could do without it.
Then we got Beth, the biggest hit off this album, sung by Peter Criss.
Peter Criss. It's good pianoing by Peter Criss and singing, but nothing much going for the song other than that.
Actually, I think that might be Bob Ezrin playing the piano.
Bob Ezrin.
I think so. Then the last track. Oh, go ahead.
Sorry. I was going to say the last track. Yeah. Do You Love Me? Should have been a single.
I like this track. I do like that track. It's a great track.
And then I think it says placed on CD. Some records, there's a 6th track on side 2 for some of the records. A track called Untitled, apparently.
Yep, Untitled. Simmons instrumental.
Mm-hmm. And apparently, I'm reading it on Wikipedia. Track 6, also known as Rock and Roll Demons or Rock and Roll Party, appears as a hidden track on the original vinyl pressing. It appears a few seconds after Do You Love Me? Rock and Roll Demons, I prefer that over Rock and Roll Party. It seems like Rock and Roll Demons. That could have been a Gene thing. Go on.
Yeah, kind of has that vibe to it, I guess.
Yeah. Like I said, a lot of these songs would stay in the Kiss set list for years. I mean, years.
Yep. To this day.
Yeah.
Especially Shout It Out Loud, which I...
And also, Destroyer album is where the Destroyer tour. The tour for this album in 1976 was pretty short, but they went to Australia, and they had a certain Australian band in 76 open up for them. That blew them out of the water. AC/DC.
Yep. An unknown AC/DC at the time. But yeah. All right, moving on.
76 again.
Next studio album. Back when bands used to put out 2 albums a year.
Yeah.
November 11th, 1976, Rock and Roll Over comes out. Produced by Eddie Kramer.
Which, it's still pretty cool album art cover. Still a cool album art cover.
That Destroyer, which...
Destroyer?
Oh yeah, Rock and Roll Over, probably my favorite album cover from Kiss.
Yeah.
That's debatable because at least 3 of these album covers are really cool.
Mm-hmm.
But I like it. Excellent album. Now this one goes back to the raw heavy sound.
Yep. Probably out of the 70s album, the last heaviest sounding album in the 70s.
Yeah. And this one's 33 minutes and 18 seconds.
And then this is one of the albums where Peter Criss really starts getting crazier.
A little bit, yeah.
Yeah, little bit.
You know. I mean, at this point they're huge, so and this is definitely a return to form here after the Experimental Destroyer. I Want You, what a great opener, man. This song just freaking kicks ass.
Yep.
I mean,
Take
I love
Me.
it. Good and Heavy. Take Me's a good track. I do like Take Me.
Good track. 3, Calling Dr. Love. Probably this
great Gene track. What more can be said?
Definitely the better single off this album, I think.
That's so, yeah.
Why that. Oh, sorry, Ben. I like that the outro. That the little outro where Gene goes in. That's why they call me Dr. Love, and then that outro goes in of them still jamming through the outro. Killer stuff.
All right. Yeah, it's such an excellent track. I mean, perfect Gene track. It's heavy. I mean, what more could be said? Ladies' Room, again, written by Gene Simmons. Of course, one of Gene Simmons'
songs about sex. Songs about sex.
Meet you in the ladies' room. You know what I mean.
Yeah. Baby Gene, Driver.
You'd swear this one was written by Gene too, but it's not. It's written by Peter Criss and sung by Peter Criss. Baby Driver, obviously. Oh, gee, I wonder what that track's about.
Peter Criss singing about one of his girlfriends, having sex with one of his girlfriends at the time.
This album's definitely full of some perverted,
sleazy stuff. Good sleazy stuff.
Yeah. I don't know what word I'm trying to look for here, but yeah. Perverted innuendo or something like that, yeah.
And for all you people out there that like to get offended by perverted music, well, I just fucked your girlfriend in bed, so what?
Oh man. Because you can't get the job done because you're too offended.
Nope. That's why your girlfriend liked my long hard salami, man. It stays right there.
That's why your woman called me in the night. Anyway, now I'm gonna start writing Gene type songs.
Oh, all right,
we got another great love song here by Gene Simmons. Love him and leave him.
Love him and leave him.
I wonder what that's about. Great track.
Great track. The next track's a good ripping track, Mr. Speed.
Yeah, Mr. Speed's good. Which I'm pretty sure is another song about fucking women.
Nope, that's Paul Stanley and Delaney. Yeah. Written by Paul Stanley.
Yep. Cool track though, it's a good track.
Yeah. See You in Your Dreams, track 8, another Gene song. I wonder what Gene. Yeah. And of course.
Yeah, this track's not bad. Probably
no, it's not bad.
One of the more forgettable tracks here.
Yeah. And then we got 9, Hard Luck Woman, See You in Bed.
Written by Paul Stanley, sung by Peter Criss.
Peter Criss.
Which actually, this track was originally supposed to be done by Rod Stewart.
Yeah.
And, well, that never happened. Thank goodness.
Peter Criss did it good. So, yeah.
This is a cool track. Yeah, it is poppy, but it's really good. It definitely has that Rod Stewart type of feel to it, too. But Peter Criss is a better vocalist than Rod Stewart.
Yeah.
Final track, Making Love.
Making Love. Paul Stanley.
Good heavy track. I love it. It's got that type of riffing going on. Really good stuff.
Well, that riff. I mean, you could say Kiss was even one of those early bands that influenced thrash.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of thrash
Just with
bands
that riff alone. Yeah.
I mean, yeah, this is a great album, man. Like, you can't go wrong with the first 5 or 6 Kiss albums, in my
No.
opinion. But
Then
before
as we get later on, sorry.
But before we move on to the next album, before we move on to the next album, I got to take a little bathroom break.
Yeah. All right. Someone wants to say hi to the chat. Hey guys, I'm back. I was in the North Pole. I got lost. Oh shit, Barnes, there you are. We were all wondering where you went. I was busy visiting Santa Claus. I was on the naughty list. I don't know if I got bad coal or bad weed, but I got lost somewhere. I ended up in the North Pole. I got lost at Santa's workshop. Oh, that's so exciting, Shit Barnes. I forgot how much I could give a shit. Well, I mean, I get lost a lot. I have a bad mindset. My IQ is the greatest, so, maybe I was on Santa's good list. Okay, Shit Barnes, that's enough. You've been talking. You've been glad. We're not glad you're back, Shit Barnes. You should have stayed lost. Why? Because of my beautiful face? Well, no, not that. Just because of your way of telling stories isn't the greatest. Well, then, fuck all of you. Goodbye. Go sleep on your couch, Barnes. You'll be happier there. Okay. Sorry about that, ladies and gentlemen. Sorry about that, y'all. That was Shit Barnes. He decided to just barge in, and he decided to beat me up and stuff, and he got lost again, so, And now a word from our sponsor, Miller High Life. It's beer. You can drink it. Whoa, what do you mean Black Christmas? I love Black Christmas. Whoa, Barnes. Whoa, we don't talk about that, man. Just chill out, Shit Barnes. Just chill out, man. I think you've smoked too much weed and you've done too much meth, and I think you've wandered too far, man. You shouldn't have gone to the North Pole. Whoa, what do you mean? That's where they have Black Christmas, right? North Pole, Santa, and those little midgets he's running around with. Whoa, we don't call them midgets. They're called elves, man. Well, I don't give a shit. Well, geez, people. Shit Barnes is... Yeah, well, Jesus, people. Shit Barnes is definitely moody today. Well, what'd you say, motherfucker? No, Ivan Moody. Not you, Booty Moody. You're not welcome here tonight, Booty Moody. Sorry. I thought you were retired. What the fuck you talking about, man? I'm Booty Moody. I'm not retired. What are you talking about? White flag and all that bullshit. I'm Booty Moody, and I am never retiring. Yeah, you keep saying that. Yeah, man. I remember Black Christmas. I was lost at the North. Nobody cares, Shit Barnes. Nobody gives a flying fuck.
All right, shut the fuck up, Shit Barnes. How the hell did you get in here?
I don't know, Ben. I don't know. I saw him. He snuck through my window again. I had that thing locked.
Hey, Barnes, you ruined my Kiss deep dive, you fucker.
Oh, yeah, Ben. Hold on. Oh, guess what Shit Barnes told us? Shit Barnes told us a story about how he got lost and ended up in the North Pole. Apparently he was talking about Black Santa Claus.
Okay, then. Never float your boat, dude.
Like I said, the IQ of of a fucking farm animal. The IQ.
All right. Okay. Just bear with me here. What the hell happened? Oh, okay.
Yeah, we're on Love Gun next.
Yes, we are on the album Love Gun right now.
Which technically Paul Stanley is the title was about Paul Stanley's junk.
Well, you know what it's about.
Yeah.
A song about song about the old meat stick. There we go, Love Gun.
The hard the old meat stick. You know that hard piece of beef jerky, man.
But yes, Love Gun. Okay. Produced by Eddie Kramer again. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Came out on June 30th, 1977.
Second album.
Yeah, man. Recorded in May of 77. 32 minutes and 53 seconds long. Yeah, these albums are not very long.
No.
Fifth studio album here by Kiss. Yeah. 2 singles released. Christine 16. Released on June 1st, 1977. And the title track, Love Gun, released on July 3rd, 1977.
Yeah. Which second album where Peter Criss decides to quit for 3 months and then comes back.
Yeah, this is probably the beginning of the band starting to have cracks, I would say. But anyways, we'll get into the album because there's definitely a couple tracks on here I don't care for.
There's also a track that influenced a certain YouTube channel that we all.
Oh yeah, which we will get to that here in a minute. But again, this album begins strong with "I Stole Your Love." I love that track, man.
I love that track.
Cool ass riff.
Plus, Peter Criss just doing that little. It's not a shuffle. It's a little thing he does on the toms, which is kind of cool. Boom, dum, boom, dum, 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 yeah, that kind of thing.
Right. Really cool track. Kind of resemblance of Deep Purple's "Burn" a little bit.
Yeah.
But man, what a cool riff, cool track. Then we get into track 2. Gene makes an appearance. And oh boy, what a way to make an appearance. Christine 16. Gee, I wonder what that's about.
Christine 16. Yeah, Gene, what are you singing about, dude?
Definitely wouldn't get away with that nowadays.
No,
for sure.
Not nowadays. And we get another Gene Simmons song, "Got Love for Sale."
Love for Sale. Oh, gee. About too. Maybe prostitution. Prostitutes.
Yeah.
Oh, shit. Good old Gene.
And then we got, another good another Ace guitar solo. Shock me. Shock me! Too. Make it wanna better. Bandano. Shock me! Know you want it better. And then he just goes into a ripping guitar solo in that track.
Totally. Notably, too, the very first track Ace Frehley does lead vocals on.
Mm-hmm.
And he's got that raw rock and roll punky voice, which fits.
Although there's stories of Ace Frehley not wanting to do lead vocals on it. There's stories out there saying Ace.
Yeah, he was shy about doing vocals at first. Yeah. Then he finally, I think it's Paul that told him he should do it, or somebody. Tomorrow and Tonight, written by Stanley, not a bad track.
Not a bad track. It's forgettable. Right. It's all right. Kind of forgettable sometimes.
Oh boy, we got a song about the swong.
We got a song about your 9-iron.
Love Gun.
Fun great track.
Song. Still a great track. I mean, still got cool riffs and good little Ace Frehley guitar solo in it.
Mm-hmm. Track,
Hooligan.
Track 7. Peter Criss song. I'm a hooligan, never go to school again.
Yeah,
good singing by Peter Criss.
That's a really good track.
Yeah, has that little swinging boogie to it.
Yep.
That little Kiss boogie, you know. Yep. Which Hooligan reminds me of. Hooligan is kind of. Yeah, I'm stuttering. Fuck it, fucker. Sorry. I had one of my autism moments where I stuttered. Didn't mean to do that. So I got to get myself back in the mindset. Hooligan. Hooligan reminds me of something that was left off of the debut album. Kind of has that kind of debut album kind of sound on it.
You know what? I keep forgetting to do this. Where is it? I keep forgetting to do this.
Oh.
Like when you're talking, it's hard to do it though.
Oh.
But yeah, I can blow your picture up.
That's what Gene said.
Yeah. I keep
See guys, you'll never get this content elsewhere. Unless you watch Ralph Fier or us, then you'll get that content. But
there's a couple
of watch,
too.
Yeah,
Ralph Fier. He's the other one.
Metal
Sound Reviews.
Metal Madness 666. Jeff. Where there's oh yeah, Necrotic Nick. Nick has the same attitude as us.
Yep. Hell yeah, man.
Yeah, I'm just reading the chat. Jeff's in the chat. So what's up, Jeff?
Oh, what's going on, Jeff? What's up? What's up, everybody else in the chat? I'm kind of not looking at the chat right now because I'm trying to concentrate. Yeah. But I'll look at the comments here after we're done.
Yeah. So we're at track 8, Almost Human, which I think Ralph said that was the song that got him to create the channel. Good track. Gene Simmons song, written by Gene Simmons, sung by Gene Simmons. Good track.
I think it's an underrated track because I don't even know if they ever played this track live.
Yeah.
It's freaking good. It's heavy. It's dark.
Funny.
I mean, it could easily be a follow-up to God of Thunder.
It's
great. Yeah. It's really good.
Mm-hmm. Let me get.
Now, this is the track I don't really care for. The last 2 tracks on here, I'm not.
Plastercaster, which you know what Gene Simmons is singing about.
Oh yeah, you know about getting this dick fucking basically. You know.
Oh yeah, I know.
I can't get the word out right now for whatever reason, but yeah.
No, for all you kids out,
what Gene's thinking about.
For all you people out there who are who get offended, he's getting his thing he touched. For all you people out there who get offended, wee. He said penis. He said dick. Well, I don't give a shit.
Yeah, we didn't create this channel for a bunch of PG whiny crybabies. Anyways, no, Plastercaster. It's about getting his. I believe it's about him getting his. Well, Jimi Hendrix had this done, where he got his dick cemented somehow.
Yeah, Gene Simmons basically at the time. The story goes at the time, and I'm gonna say it like Gene Simmons. So this is gonna be my Gene Simmons imitation. Well, you know, I wanted to get my dick made into a mold so I can give it to my girlfriend so she can enjoy and pleasure herself, and she liked it. Very good.
That's pretty much it, yeah.
Hey, you guys heard it. That wasn't me. That was Gene Simmons speaking. That wasn't me.
Then no, I don't want to talk about this track.
Nah.
Then She Kissed Me, obviously a cover by the Crystals, an old 60s tune.
Yeah, we'll just skip that track and say it doesn't exist. Just skip it.
Yeah. And that's why this album's a bit of a downgrade compared to the first 5. All in all, though, I would say at least 8 of these tracks are pretty damn good. Yeah.
Then
like
we
it.
get
Last 2 tracks kind of weighed down, but
then we get a live 2, which is good live album still.
2 then, which my copy is quite beat up.
Which I'll just blaze through the track list. And you get Detroit Rock City, King of the Nighttime World, Ladies Room, Making Love, Love Gun, Dr. Love, Christine 16, Shock Me, Hard Luck Woman, Tomorrow and Tonight, and then 4 sides. I Stole Your Love, Beth, God of Thunder, I Want You, Shout It Out Loud, All American Man. It's interesting. Rockin' in the USA, Larger Than Life, Rocket Ride, and Any Way You Want It.
Yeah, you get 3. Okay, yeah, that's the difference between this and a live 1. On this, you get 5 new. Yeah, you get 5 new tracks, 1 cover track. I believe. But let me look at these tracks here. So this came out on October 14th, 1977. Yeah. I just want to look up the 5 studio tracks. Okay. All right. Okay, so All American Man, written by Stanley. Not a bad track.
No.
Rocking in the USA is okay. Larger Than Life, a typical Gene song. Probably the best on here when it comes to the 5 originals. Even though Rocket Ride's pretty good too, which Rocket Ride was actually going to be on the Ace Frehley solo album, but it ended up.
But he decided to. I think Ace agreed with Gene and the band to put it on the live album instead. So.
Yep.
And then Any Way You Want It. Yeah.
It's a cover track. Written by Dave Clark.
Oh yeah. I was gonna say 1977. This is just something. Is Love Gun better than Let There Be Rock in 77, Ben? Is Love Gun.
Right. So yeah, I mean, 2 albums again in 77. Well, 1 being a live album, half studio album.
And then technically,
the version of Shock Me on Alive 2 is absolutely killer.
Yeah. And then we get in 1978 we get double platinum, which is just a double platinum with the greatest hits of Kiss at that time.
Only 1 re-recording. Strutter 78, which
it should have just
not as good as the original.
No.
But yeah.
But then we get
no use really talking about this. So then we get
Gene
the
Simmons.
solo albums. Yeah. Which I'm not really going to go into total deep details on these solo albums. I mean, technically they're not really Kiss albums, but they're still listed under Kiss.
Yeah. The Gene Simmons solo album, I do enjoy that one more than the Paul Stanley one.
See, I'm not a huge fan of the Gene solo album.
No.
Well, I guess for me, I thought, when I got it when I was younger, I thought it was going to be the heaviest of the solo albums because it's Gene. He's the demon. And here it's not really that heavy at all. And
oh, boy.
So where are we at here? Gene Simmons. Okay, let's look at the tracks here. Because I no longer own these. I only have the Paul Stanley one.
Radioactive.
Radioactive's a re-recording.
Burning Up with Fever, See You Tonight, Tunnel of Love, which I think Ralph doesn't like that song. True Confession.
Yeah.
Living in Sin, Always Near You, Nowhere to Hide, Man of a Thousand Faces, Make You Believe, See in Your Dreams, and then he did a Disney cover of When You Wish Upon a Star. Yeah.
And He only did that because that was the first song he heard when he moved to America from Israel.
Yeah.
That's where he was from.
Yep.
And well, I guess it had sentimental value to him, as a kid. I mean, Man of a Thousand Faces is okay. The rest of this album, I don't know.
But we get into the next album we get into is very controversial. Disco Kiss, people.
Wait. We're going to talk about the other solo albums briefly before we go to Dynasty. I'm not going to waste much time on. So then we got Peter Criss's solo. Oh boy. Okay, if we thought, well, at least I think Gene's solo album's not that great. But Peter Criss's is worse.
Worse. Well, I think it's also because Peter.
I mean, the Peter Criss solo album, there's no hard rocking tunes on this album at all.
Tossing and turning. I was tossing and turning. That was the only real Peter Criss solo song that made it to the Kiss live set, was Tossing and Turning.
And a lot of these tracks were like old tracks too from his old band, Chelsea.
Yeah.
And at the time, Peter Criss did admit he rushed doing the album because at the time he was injured after being in a car accident. Mm-hmm. So that's why the album pretty much turned out like it did. Yep. I mean, there's some silly titles on here. That's the kind of sugar Papa likes. What the fuck? Oh, God. Yeah, this really is not that good of an album. You Matter to Me kind of sounds like a disco track.
Yeah.
This one was produced by Vinnie Ponica.
Mm-hmm.
Who produced Jeans? I forget who produced Jeans. I forgot to read. Oh, yeah, this was produced by Sean Delaney, who I forgot to mention, too, did some co-writing on a lot of Kiss tracks.
Mm-hmm.
Where am I at here? Cripe. All right, so then we go to Paul Stanley's, which would be my second favorite out of the solo albums. The most Kiss-sounding of them, probably.
Yeah.
I mean, there's stuff on here I definitely don't like. So this one was produced by Paul Stanley and Jeff Glitzman. Okay. Tonight You Belong to Me, great track. Move On, pretty good. Wouldn't You Like to Know Me kind of has like a Kiss feel to it. Could have been a Kiss track.
Mm-hmm.
It's All Right's pretty damn good. That's pretty hard rocking. Hold Me, Touch Me, Think of Me When We're Apart. Holy cow, this song sucks.
That does suck.
Terrible. Love and Change is pretty heavy. Goodbye's not too bad. Not a bad album. Not great, but not bad. And that's the one I actually do own.
But the best one is the Ace one. The best one is.
Yep, finally. Yes, this is the best of the heaviest of the solo albums. And the one that sold the most. Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah, these came out on September 18th, 1978 also, if I didn't mention that too. And this was produced by Eddie Kramer. And man, this album rocks. Every track on here is good. Not a bad track on here at all. Rip It Out.
2000.
Heavy.
Yeah.
Speeding Back to My Baby's a good rocker. Snowblind is really good, not to be confused with Black Sabbath's Snowblind. Ozone's really rocking. Yeah,
2000 man. 2000 man.
Like, to me, the weakest track on here is probably New York Groove. I mean, it's a
good
track.
Back still, in the New York Groove.
Still good, catchy, but
yeah.
Wiped Out is really good, and then you get Fractured Mirror Part 1, which there would be a Part 2 and Part 3 later on down the road.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I'm not going to spend too much time on those albums, man. Well, then you got Kiss Meets the Phantom 2, that movie that came out, which I'm not going to spend too much time on either. It's pretty much just a made-for-TV mess of a movie.
Mm-hmm.
And Peter Criss wasn't even in the movie. So yeah, this is where the turmoil really began.
Yeah, Peter Criss showed up for only four demos and 4 sessions, and And the demo songs are called Out of Control, Rumble, Dirty Livin'. There's nothing better. Dirty Livin' made it to Dynasty, while Rumble remains an unreleased official by the band as a bootleg.
Forgot to mention too. Oh, I'm sorry if you were still talking.
Yeah, I was just going over the demos that didn't make it for the album. Ace Frehley submitted a 5-track demo with Hard Times, Save Your Love, a cover of 2000 Man, Backstage Pass, and Insufficient Data. 3 of the songs are on Dynasty, while the last 2 remain unreleased. Gene Simmons recorded a large number of demos, including 5 songs with members of the band Virgin, drummer Chuck Billings and guitarist Tommy Moody Billings, blah, 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 blah. And that the songs are called I Have Just Begun to Fight, Reputation, and Bad Lovin'.
Okay. Forgot to mention something else too about those solo albums. The only reason why they did solo albums is because Ace and Peter were about ready to quit the band.
Yeah.
That's pretty much why.
Anyways, funny thing is that Peter tried to quit. Peter quit more than Ace.
Yep, that's true. May 23rd, 1979, Dynasty is released, and a lot of people were not happy.
And the genre, hard rock plus disco.
39 minutes and 19 seconds in length, produced by Vinnie Ponica. Right there was the mistake. Okay, why would you use the producer who produced Peter Criss's solo album, the lowest selling of the solo albums, to produce the next Kiss album?
There's a story behind it. There's a story behind it because Peter Criss recommended Penny Vancia to Gene and Paul.
That's probably one too where Peter's like, "Yo, if we don't use Vinnie Ponica, I'm quitting the band," which you only played on one track.
And then, funny, the producer was the one that told the band, "You might want to start packing Peter's bags because he's not cutting the cheese."
Right. Opening track, I Was Made for Loving You. I don't gotta talk about it. It's been heard a million times. It's their disco song. Yeah. I prefer the live version of this track because it sounds way heavier live.
Yeah. And Sure Knows Something.
Okay, 2000 Man, the Rolling Stones cover with
pretty good cover
on vocals. Rockin'. Now this is what I want to hear from Kiss. Absolutely killer. Sure Knows Something. Now this one, I don't think it's that bad of a track.
No,
it's a little poppy, but it still kind of has that hard rock sound too. All right, people. I know a lot of people like this track, but
Dirty Livin', I don't care for it. Almost sounds like Kiss doing a porno.
Okay. Dirty Living. In every review I've seen, everybody likes this track, and I don't get why. I don't get it
either. It's terrible.
I'm sorry. I think it's terrible. Okay, for one, the drum performance by Peter Criss on this track is poor. It's terrible.
Poor. Yeah. There's not even a good pocket. There's not even a good pocket or beat going on it to keep the song going.
And vocally, you can just tell Peter Criss don't want to be there anymore. He's not into it at all. So I just don't get why people like this track.
No.
To me, there's no effort being put into it.
No.
But luckily, that's pretty much all I got to say about Charisma. Or not Charisma, Dirty Living.
Dirty Living. We'll get to Charisma.
Charisma is next. My favorite track off this album.
It's a good
One
track.
of my favorite Gene tracks. Excellent track. I love it.
Okay.
I don't know, man. I just like it. It has
I like it.
It's a charisma feel to it. That's why it's called Charisma.
Yeah.
Magic Touch is next.
Yeah.
It's all right.
Yeah.
Not bad. Sounds like it could have been on Paul Stanley's solo album.
Yeah.
Same with Sure Knows Something. Hard Times by Ace Frehley. Now this track is killer. Excellent
Killer.
track, hard rocking. X-Ray Eyes is next, written by Gene Simmons. Oh, gee, what's this track about? I wonder.
X-Ray Eyes. X-Ray Eyes.
Yeah, I think X-Ray Eyes is another pretty solid track too.
Mm-hmm.
Not one. It's all right. I wouldn't say really solid, I guess, but it's okay.
And then Save Your Love by Frehley. Frehley.
I gotta say though, vocally on this track, you can tell there's turmoil in the band. Like, the track's not bad, but you can just tell some of the vocal lines are off on this track. You can tell they're not getting along.
You can tell they're not getting along. And I don't know if you hear it in some of the choruses and verses. You hear a lot of slip ups from Ace or Peter.
That's kind of what I hear.
You don't. I'm sorry if I sound weird. I'm gonna go into an analogy. It's like a cement mixer. You pour the cement, you mix it into the ground, and it hardens and it sticks. Nothing's fucking sticking. The cement's wet. People are stepping in it, and it's getting messy.
Yeah, man, I gotta say, yeah, it's a pretty weekender to an album.
Mm-hmm.
Like the music ain't bad, but
yeah, second to last, yeah.
And that
Let me go to 1990. That would be Peter Criss. Sorry, I don't mean to cut you. I was just agreeing with you.
So yeah, that would be Peter Criss's final album. Even though
technically not. Yeah, because Peter Criss will play on one more Kiss song on the next album. They would give him a chant, like a slim chant.
It was on the video, but he didn't actually play on the album, though.
No.
Okay. What was I gonna say? Oh yeah, Anton Fig was the drummer on Dynasty, who went on to be on the David Letterman show, obviously.
Looking at
Dynasty ain't as. I don't think it's as bad as people say it is. It does have a few good tracks, but there is weakness to it.
Well, for the charts for 1979 in Australia, it was second in Australia in 79.
Oh yeah, they were starting to become huge in Australia because, well, us as Americans, we were getting fed up with Kiss.
Yeah.
Because of the direction they were going in.
Rolling Stone gave it a 1 star. Pitchfork gave it a 0 out of 10. And they said no effort put into that album.
Yeah, I get that. I do get that with certain tracks on this album or on that album.
Yeah.
And where are we at here?
1980.
Okay, I was going to say something. I totally forgot. Oh, yeah. I think I already said that. Yeah, Anton Fig would be on drums. At the time, Kiss is so big. Dynasty was still a very successful album. But the old hard rock fans of Kiss were starting to bow out. They're like,
and then I think around this time you see one of the very last or few interviews with Peter Criss. Criss is just Peter Criss is all coked out on live TV, laughing hysterically, and just embarrassing Gene and Paul. You can look on their faces.
The famous Tom Snyder show interview.
Yeah.
Where Ace Frehley was all fucked up.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, Gene and Paul were not enjoying that at all.
Nope.
And yeah, that probably would have been one of the last TV appearances. And I believe Peter Criss officially left Kiss in November of '79.
Yeah.
And yeah, we go into Unmasked. There was something else I was going to say, and I totally forgot now. Oh yeah, at the time, Kiss was starting to really appeal to kids, and that's another reason why a lot of old fans were starting to bow out and walk away. Oh boy, here we go. If you thought Unmasked or if you thought Dynasty had a lot of pop to it, or was the beginnings, oh boy,
Ooh, Unmasked.
is pretty much a pop out.
It gets better after this for a short bit. It's better after this.
Now there are tracks on here I like, but we'll get into the.
There's a lot of tracks I do not like on this album.
It's That You opens the album. Pretty good track. I do like it.
Good track.
Written by Gerald McMahon. I've heard the original version too. It's actually a little heavier.
Mm-hmm.
But this track, not a bad track. Sandy, the only hit on this album, and this would be Peter Criss's last appearance in the band on the Sandy video.
And you could tell Peter Criss did not give two fucks about this appearance on drums.
Yeah. Well, apparently Peter Criss broke down and cried too after
the
video shoot was over because he knew it was goodbye at the time.
Yeah.
All in all, Sandy, yeah, it's very poppy, but I actually don't mind it.
I don't mind it. Yeah. Talk to me.
Talk to me.
Ace Frehley.
Should have been heavier.
Yep.
Should have had heavier guitar tone to it. It's way too poppy. Is it bad? It's not terrible, but it definitely needed balls to it.
Yeah.
Track 4, Naked City, my favorite track on here. Yep. Naked City is actually a good Gene track. I do like it. And this one's written by Gene Simmons, Vinnie Ponica, Bob Kulick, Bruce Kulick's brother, and Pepe Castro, whoever that is. Oh yeah, this album's a little longer too, 39 minutes and 46 seconds. Okay, produced by Vinnie Ponica. And okay, back to the album tracks.
Yeah.
Where are we at here? What makes the world go round?
Mm-hmm.
Terrible.
No,
I don't care.
Terrible. What? Filler. Poppy filler.
Yep, more filler. Tomorrow's another filler track.
Yep.
Two Sides of the Coin, not one of Ace's better tracks.
No.
She's so European.
Gene, I wonder what you were saying.
This song's weird.
Yeah.
There's parts of this track I like, and there's parts of this track I don't like.
No.
Like, I like the solo. I love the solo Ace does on this track. It's great.
Yeah.
But, yeah. Easy as it seems, very, very poppy.
Poppy.
Don't like it at all.
Don't like Kiss when they get too poppy. Ugh.
Torpedo Girl, okay. Torpedo Girl kind of has a cool Ace riff in it, but
yeah,
I don't know. It's still nothing special.
You're all that I want.
Gene Simmons. I got some ranting to do about this track. This is the worst track on the album.
Yeah.
Let me tell you why. Okay. Like, it starts off with an okay riff. It sounds like it's going to be heavy, but then it really gets bad. Okay, listen to the vocals on this track. They are not into this.
Yeah.
And you can, and when you listen to the backing vocals, you can tell the vocals are off a little bit. Like somebody is off in the mix. It's terrible.
Mm-hmm.
Easily the worst, probably one of the worst Kiss songs, period.
Mm-hmm. It's up there. It's really up there.
So yeah, this album's not that great. Like, it's got a couple okay tracks. Honestly, I think Sandy's the best track on here in Naked City. And it's That You. Those are the only three tracks I really like.
And that's not saying much.
All right, so moving on. Oh yeah, by the way, this would be the beginning of a new era because Eric Carr would join the band.
Join the band.
So
this would be the last hurrah for Ace Frehley, really.
Yep.
as a studio album from Kiss.
So, okay, in press conference interviews at the time in 1980, and pretty much the American market already gave up on Kiss. They were huge in Australia, though. They were massive in Australia. Unmasked was absolutely huge over there.
They were huge in Japan also.
Yeah. So Kiss promised they were going back. They were going to go back to their roots. They were going to go back to their heavier sound. Well, that exactly didn't quite happen yet.
No, it didn't.
Instead, they hooked back up with Bob Ezrin and did their only concept album called Music from the Elder. The Elder.
The Elder, which it's not a bad album. It gets a lot of shit.
I honestly enjoy this album.
I enjoy it too.
Enjoy it. Yeah, and there are some heavy tracks on here. It's not a full blown heavy album though, but yeah, it's a concept album produced by Bob Ezrin. At the time, he had produced Pink Floyd's The Wall, which was huge, and I guess Kiss thought that could happen to them, and it didn't. Because this is the lowest selling Kiss record. This is the only Kiss album that never hit gold.
Yep.
42 minutes and 46 seconds long, probably the longest Kiss album up to that point. Yeah. Kind of shocked that there was actually singles released from this.
Yep.
A World Without Heroes was released on November 17th, 1981. I was released on November 17th, 1981, and The Oath, January 25th, 1982, only in Japan. So, yeah. This album, it's definitely a mixed bag. They didn't even tour for this album.
No, they didn't.
The only time they played tracks from this album was on the Friday Night Rock show. That was Ace Frehley's last TV appearance with Kiss. Apparently, pretty much, yep.
Because there's stories that Ace Frehley ran off for a short bit. And there's stories Ace Frehley ran off for a short bit, rediscovered himself, and then wound up drunk somewhere. That's one of the stories thrown out there.
Yep. And Ace Frehley only did one track on this album, kind of similar to Dynasty, where Peter Criss only did one track.
Mm-hmm.
Which we will get to that. Okay. I mean, I got the original version that was released. I actually prefer the remastered version of this because I like the fact that they open it up with fanfare and go into Just a Boy.
Mm-hmm.
Like the only reason why they put The Oath on the original version because it's a heavy track, probably to try to, maybe drag fans into buying it, but it did not work.
Yeah. Plus, what is up with that fucking purple headband on? What are you guys doing with your makeup there? Jesus, come on.
Yeah, I don't know what they were trying to do at the time. They were trying to look medieval or whatever.
It didn't make them look evil. It made them look stupid.
Yeah, they cut their hair shorter.
I mean, Ace. The only one that kind of looks cool, really, is Ace and Eric Carr. That's it, really.
And this would also be the first time, and probably since the band's inception, where a couple of times on the Friday Night Rock show, they performed as a three-piece with no Ace.
Yeah.
Yep. Definitely a dark period for the band, and they were starting to become broke around this period too, because of low album sales and whatever. All right, so yeah, the original album opens up with The Oath, which is a good heavy track. Easily probably one of the heaviest Kiss tracks. But then we get really progressive with Fanfare, Just a Boy.
Mm-hmm. Dark Light,
which, the track listing on the remastered's totally different. So yeah, Dark Light was the only track that Ace contributed on the album.
Yeah. Only You.
definitely a rocking tune. Good Ace solo on that track.
Yeah.
Oh, U's a really good track. I do like that track.
Written by Simmons.
Under the Rose, written by Eric Carr and Gene Simmons. I actually really enjoyed this track.
Yeah.
Now, I'm just trying to look here. There's actually tracks on here where Eric Carr did not even play drums on them.
Yeah, it says Anton Fig.
I think it was on Odyssey. I think it was just on the track Odyssey and I, where Eric Carr did not play drums.
Yep.
Oh yeah, World Without Heroes, very Pink Floyd sounding. Even the solo sounds a lot like something David Gilmour would write.
Yep. Mr. Blackwell.
That's weird because that solo was actually played by Paul Stanley. It's actually a pretty good solo. Yeah, Mr. Blackwell. Now this is a good heavy Gene track, I think. It's dark, Escape from the Island, a short little speed metal instrumental. Kind of cool. Yeah, Odyssey is a cover track. Then I sounds more like classic Kiss.
Yes, it does.
Then Finale's just a short little instrumental. Yeah, I mean, it's not as bad as people say it is. I know there's people out there that hate it, but I don't think it's completely terrible.
No, it's definitely better than Dynasty and Unmasked.
Oh, yeah, I agree. All right, only 2 more albums to go, and then we're done with part 1. So, up next, we got this little compilation album.
Killers.
This is a little bit of a step back in the right direction. Killers. Mine's obviously the German pressing because they were not allowed to have the Kiss band logo in Germany because they thought it looked like a Nazi symbol. I mean, you get 4 new tracks on here. I'm a Legend Tonight. Down on
Your Knees. Nowhere to Run. And Nowhere to Run.
Nowhere to Run and Partners in Crime. All written by Paul Stanley.
Yep.
Produced by Michael James Jackson. They're not bad tracks. I mean, it's a step back in the right direction.
Yeah.
And I would definitely say I'm a Legend Tonight is definitely the sound you would hear going into 80s Kiss. Definitely.
Yep. And then the very last hurrah of the masked era of Kiss. The last hurrah.
Yep. Nowhere to Run's a pretty cool track too from that.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I'm not going to talk about the other tracks on it. I mean, it's pretty much tracks we already know. I mean, yeah, it's not worth talking about. It's kind of a cool little collector's item, I guess. Now, to end off part 1.
Creatures of the Night.
Ooh. What an album. Kiss's heavy metal album. That's right. Heavy metal. Easily their heaviest album.
Hands down.
It took a couple albums to get there, but we finally got it. So yeah, and at the time, Ace Frehley's pretty much out of the band, even though he's still pictured on the album cover. Which I don't. Well, they were trying to hide it. He was still in the band.
Yeah. And Ace was just really, at that point, really, really boozed out and just really just.
Oh yeah.
I think Ace just decided to quit.
Yeah, he was pretty much near death at that point. He had to get out. But there is footage out there of Ace Frehley performing a couple of these tracks live with Kiss. I Love It Loud. And I believe Creatures of the Night.
Yeah, yes, that's correct.
It's like some of Ace's last ever performances.
Yeah. Now, Ben, I have something to ask you. If Ace would have stayed on through the whole album, do you think Ace would have died right after this album? If Ace would have stayed and played live, do you think he would have passed away?
I mean,
if they wouldn't have let him.
That's a good question. Who knows what would have happened? I mean, because Ace was really in bad shape at that point.
Yeah.
So yeah, this would be the album that has Vinnie Vincent on it.
Vinnie Vincent.
The Egyptian. The last album they did with the makeup too.
The Ankh. The Ankh. He wanted to be called the Ankh. A-U-N-K.
Yeah, right.
The Ankh.
The Ankh. Yep, you're right about that. Yep. So yeah, this album is a huge improvement. However, though, the album did not sell because at this time people had lost hope in Kiss. So the album, it took a couple years for the album to actually take off, you know. And yeah, the album's produced by Michael James Jackson, not to be confused with Michael Jackson, Paul Stanley, and Gene Simmons. 38 minutes and 48 seconds long, excuse me there. And let's get into the tracks to end off part one. Creatures of the Night. What a
fucking
heavy track.
Just hits you right in the face.
Yes. Oh my god, and Eric Carr's drum sound on this album is huge. It's like cannon. It's like cannon. It's going off, man.
Paul Stanley sounds like Paul Stanley again.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, just heavy. Saint and Sinner, another really heavy track. Really rocking stuff. Just great stuff by Gene. Keep Me Coming. Gee, I wonder what that's about. Keep Me Coming.
The next track. Rock and Roll Hell.
Keep Me Coming kind of has a Led Zeppelin vibe to it, I think.
Yes, it does.
It's pretty cool. Rock and Roll Hell. This is a good one. Apparently, this track was written about Ace Frehley.
It is.
And it's written by Gene Simmons and Bryan Adams. Yes, that Bryan Adams. And Jimmy Valance. But man, what a killer track. Oh man. Then we get Danger. Another Paul Stanley track. Another heavy track.
Mm-hmm. And then it gets heavier inside too.
Mm-hmm. I Love It Loud.
I love that. You just hear those black Ludwig kick drums that Eric Carr is using. Boom boom clap, boom boom clap, boom boom snare, boom boom snare. It's just loud.
It's like cannons going off. Such a killer drum sound, man.
And Gene Simmons, you can hear the demon coming back in Gene Simmons on that track.
Yep, and that one's co-written by Vinnie Vincent too. Really cool track.
And Gene Simmons.
Yeah.
Oh, I love it. And Gene Simmons' bass playing in that track. Gene does some cool bass licks in that track.
Yes, he does. Simple track, but really good.
And that Vinnie Vincent guitar solo. Little guitar solo in it, but
yeah,
it's catchy.
I mean, yeah, it's a simple little guitar solo, but it works.
Yeah.
Then we get I Still Love You, a dark track. This
dark
one's
track.
Good too. I like it. It starts out really dark and melodic, and then when it gets heavy, it sounds pretty damn killer too. Written by Paul Stanley and Vinnie Vincent. Another great track.
Mm-hmm.
Killer. Another heavy Gene track. Written by Gene Simmons and Vinnie Vincent. Kind of speedy on that track. Pretty good stuff. Oh man, and then it ends really heavy.
Mm-hmm. War Machine.
This is probably my favorite track on the album, War Machine.
Better watch out, because I'm a war machine.
Oh yeah.
Better watch out.
Ironically covered by 6 Feet Under.
Yeah.
Yep, Sid Barnes did cover this track.
Yeah. Not the War Machine of AC/DC, although that's a great War Machine also.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, this track's just heavy, man. Dude,
Heavy. And then Eric Carr does those little flams. Boom. Cannons, man. Eric Carr,
yes.
Fucking great drummer. Sad how he died and shit, and just
yeah, I agree. Man. Definitely sad indeed. But yeah, man, excellent album. What a comeback.
The production is solid. Good production on the album too.
I'd say up to this point, it's their best production. Definitely.
Mm-hmm. Best album. Best album since Love Gun.
I would agree. Definitely solid, heavy.
Mm-hmm.
Their heaviest album up to that. Well, it's just their heaviest album.
And I really want to get that. I want to get that box set for it. I want to get that.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Because I want to hear the demos.
Me too. I'm anxious to hear them too. I'm pretty sure I've heard a couple of them before. But yeah. And that's part
1982. And I'm just wondering, Ben, what bands would have opened up for them during this for the tour for the Creatures of the Night? There have been some bands that opened for them for the Creatures of the Night tour.
I think Iron Maiden did. No, that's
really?
Storm on the Mist. No, Iron Maiden opened up for them. You know what? I think they might have opened up for them on Creatures too, but I could be wrong. I can't remember. I don't know. Bands were built differently back then.
Yeah.
Like I think Blackfoot and Kiss actually played together. Which Blackfoot's a southern rock band.
Yeah.
But that's a good question. But yeah, killer album. That's pretty much part one.
Mm-hmm.
Probably do part two here next Sunday.
Next Sunday.
Which that should be easy to blaze through. So.
Oh, very easy.
Well, hope everybody enjoyed. We tried the best we could with this retrospective.
We tried.
Retrospective, deep dive, whatever the fuck you want to call it.
And y'all people out there, don't be afraid to comment. Even if your comments are stupid, we would like to see them.
Yes, definitely leave comments and hell, freaking subscribe. We're almost at 100 subscribers on this channel.
Hell, I'm only at 52. I lost a bunch.
Damn, man.
Yeah.
But yeah, we're getting close to the 100 mark. Hell, man, it'd be cool to be at 100 by Halloween next week.
Hell. 100. Hell, hot take. 100 subscribers by New Year's.
Yeah.
Do a little 100 subscriber. We'll do a New Year's party stream. Hell yeah.
Oh yeah. Sounds cool to me. But yeah, man, that's pretty much part one. I hope everybody enjoyed it. Whoever stuck around, watched, and listened to us blabber on.
Yeah.
Tried the best we could. There's no scripts. You don't see no papers of scripts laying around here.
No, we're not WWE, thank God.
I did use Wikipedia a little bit because it is what it is.
So did I.
But yeah, man, that's part one. Should we check out the comments section before I leave?
Sure. Let's just read what everybody had to say.
Oh wow, that's a good bit of comments here. Cool.
Yeah.
That's
Jeff
what
was
we
in the
love.
chat.
We love those comments.
Yep.
Just seeing who all dropped in here before we hit the road. Why it's Metal
Hit
Life.
the road, Jack.
We stuck around till the end.
Come on, hit the road, Jack. And don't come on.
Metal Connection dropped by. Speed King, hell yeah.
James C. Warrior.
My Instagram account is done for. I don't think I'm starting another Instagram account either, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
Why it's Metal Life. Oh, yeah, Frederick was here. Thrasher be thrashed.
Jeff was in the chat.
James G. Warrior. Hell yeah. Anybody else that I'm forgetting? That's everybody.
Yeah. No, it's not Ben.
Sorry, I'm not reading your comments.
Jeff left some comments. Metal Madness 666 left some comments.
Yeah, Jeff was here too. What's up, Jeff?
Mm-hmm.
Oh man. Well, hope you feel better, Jeff.
Yeah. I hope you feel better, man. Yeah, like I said, hopefully, Iced Earth fan John can get his heart treatment taken care of. Hope that heart that's scary.
Yeah, definitely, man. That's some scary stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Hopefully he gets better. Shout out to Ryan Arnold too. Not going to get into detail why he's not here. That's nobody's business, really, but shout out to him.
Yeah.
And yeah, man, stick around for part 2 next Sunday night. Tomorrow night, I guess we're going to do another stream. Just a hangout stream, just a random hangout stream, All
right, guys, being Mike's out. Peace.
Yep, I'm out too, guys. Take it easy. All right, I'm out. All right, guys, stay tuned for part 2 and tomorrow night's stream. And we got a troll to end off the chat. Okay. Before we end the stream, we're going to block this idiot because they don't need to be here. All right, they're going. Okay, stream is over. Just trying to find my outro, and then we're going to end it. Okay, we're out. Or I'm out. Peace. Keep it metal. And definitely subscribe.